Before we get into the video, could everyone please subscribe to my Endless Diary Tales channel? Thank you so much. Before the university entrance exams, my childhood sweetheart fell in love with a rogue on the sports team. She spent all day with him, even abandoning her studies for him. She even gave him her most precious thing. I couldn't watch her go astray, so I told her parents everything. The matter blew up, and her father beat the athlete half to death. From then on, he disappeared from our lives. Many years later, at our wedding, my sweetheart discovered the truth about him. She set fire to our wedding home. It's all because of you. He was supposed to be standing here with me. You should go to hell to atone. The fierce flames illuminated her face, filled with hatred. When I opened my eyes, I was back in 12th grade. Please, my best friend, can you help me just this once? Just tell a little lie. Just tell my parents that I'm going to the library with you. The sound beside my ear gradually became clearer. I shouted abruptly, sitting up. The pain from the burning flames, like ocean waves, surged and then quickly disappeared. Seeing the beautiful face before me, I instinctively took a step back. Luna from Yenlap High School, she angrily said to me. If you don't agree, then just say so. Why are you acting so scared? Am I not human? I stood straight, suddenly realizing I had been reborn. Seeing my unstable expression, Luna grabbed my wrist and shook it hard. David, what's wrong with you? Don't scare me. The worry on her face didn't seem fake, but 5 years later, she would set fire to kill me because of Jake. That was the truth. Luna was my childhood sweetheart. Her name, like her person, was as gentle and pure as moonlight. On the first day of 10th grade, she stood on the stage wearing an elegant white dress. Her figure playing the violin entered the hearts of countless boys below. Everyone called her the unattainable bright moonlight, shining equally on everyone. But that light could never be held. I was the envy of all the male students in school. Luna's personality was calm and aloof, polite to everyone, naturally except for me. Our families were neighbors, often visiting each other when we were young. Luna's parents were busy with work, often sending Luna to my house. Classmates often joked, "You're really lucky living so close to the moonlight. Remember to invite me to your wedding feast later." I also thought I was special. I thought it was a match made in heaven between Luna and me until Jake appeared. Jake was a member of our school sports team. His personality was isolated, and his background was notorious, but he had a very handsome face. Just one look was enough to make Luna fall in love. Luna went crazy trying to get close to him. In the previous life, I couldn't bear her pleading, so I agreed to help her lie to her parents so she could freely play around with Jake. From then on, the name Jake appeared constantly in her words. I've never seen anyone with such a broken feeling. He's really pitiful, losing his mother at a young age, and his father is a drunkard. He has no sense of security. I am his only light, that I illuminate his life. Hearing these words, my heart couldn't help but ache. But I couldn't do anything else after that. Luna gradually distanced herself from me and became inseparable from Jake. She started skipping classes for him, even skipping the first mock exam, until I saw the goddess recognized by the whole school with an indifferent expression, arm in arm with Jake, appearing in front of the door of a shabby motel late at night. Her parents asked about her whereabouts. I chose to tell the truth. Luna's parents were furious. They rushed to the school, making a scene, threatening to call the police. Jake's father immediately flew into a rage, beating him severely. No one could stop him. From then on, Jake disappeared from our youth. Everything seemed to return to normal. Many years later, Luna and I walked into the wedding hall. At the wedding, a high school classmate drunkenly laughed and said, "Do you guys remember Jake? After dropping out of school, he lived very freely in clubs. Last month, he was stabbed to death by a rich woman's husband. The story was even in the newspaper." I saw Luna's face turn pale. That night, taking advantage of my drunkenness, she set fire to our wedding home. "It's all because of you. You killed him. I could have saved him. He and I could have had a good future. I only married you as a substitute. After playing around enough, David, you are truly a good dog. Every day with you is torture. Now I'm finally free. Now go to hell and atone for your sins." The fierce flames illuminated her face, full of hatred. I didn't expect that because of Jake, she would harbor resentment towards me for so many years. In her mad laughter, I lost consciousness. Perhaps heaven heard the plea in my heart, giving me a chance to do it again. This time, I definitely won't repeat the mistake. I touched my forehead. Are you okay? I almost froze waiting for you. I shook my head. In her surprised eyes, I slowly said, "You go play with Jake from now on. I won't wait for you to go home together after evening classes." Luna frowned, a little annoyed. "David, why are you being so petty? I don't only have you as a friend. Jake is a good person. If you're willing to interact with him, you'll definitely like him too." She thought I was sulking. I know in everyone's eyes he's just a hoodlum, but it's all because his family isn't good. That's why he went down the wrong path. This life, I will definitely save him. She approached Jake with this thought. But then he himself said to me, "Don't bother with me anymore." Jake said, "If you don't play now, when are you going to wait until you're old? Youth is for wasting. Life is short. Enjoy it while you can." When she stared into the abyss also stared back at her. She couldn't save anyone. On the contrary, she was assimilated by Jake. But this time, I chose to bless her. Good luck saving him. At that moment, Jake walked out of the alley, heading towards us. His cold eyes stared intently at me, as if I had stolen something from him. He said, "Luna, let me take you home." But Luna didn't even pay attention to him, looking at me suspiciously. "David, what's wrong with you today? You're very strange." I didn't say anything, just walked faster towards home. Luna stomped her foot angrily behind me. "What weird attitude are you showing me? If you don't understand, then don't understand. Who cares? Later, you'll beg me to play with you, you bookworm." I sincerely blessed her in this life. Let her pursue what she wants. I respect her fate. In the previous life, I spent too much thought on Luna. The university entrance exam is a battle of thousands of troops crossing a single plank bridge. How could I be distracted? In the end, I only got into a second-tier 985 university. I could have done better. Now there are less than 4 months until the university entrance exam. This time, I must put in all my effort. But Luna took the initiative to find me. Her appearance attracted everyone's attention. The loose blue school uniform couldn't hide her beauty at all. On the contrary, it highlighted her youthful radiance. My deskmate nudged me with his elbow, winking. "She's definitely here to find you." Sure enough, Luna walked straight towards me, also handing me a paper bag. "My mom asked me to bring this for you. It's a specialty my dad bought when he went on a business trip." I didn't look up, continuing to calculate on the scratch paper. "Just put it there. Say thank you." Luna didn't move. I looked up only to see her furrowing her beautiful brows, complaining to me. "David, I clearly brought it to you. Why don't you thank me?" I softly replied, "Thank you." She glared at me, wanting to say something but stopping herself. In the end, she still left my desk. "Are you two arguing recently? I haven't seen you two together anymore. The goddess has taken the initiative to make peace with you. Don't be too stubborn. Find an excuse to soften your stance." I immediately denied it. "It's nothing." Before long, the matter of Luna coming to find me reached Jake's ears. That afternoon, after gym class, a basketball was thrown straight at the back of my head. I turned around to look, only to see Jake with a gloomy face saying to me, "I'll fight you. If I win, you're not allowed to pester Luna anymore." I said, "You need to understand the truth clearly. I don't want to say much to you. I still need to go home and study." He became even more angry. "Could it be that Luna is pestering you? Don't think that just because you grew up with her since childhood, she will like you. You really don't know how to look in the mirror. Luna will never like a useless person like you." Useless was a great insult to any man. More frighteningly, in my heart, I was indeed a mature man. Jake immediately punched me provocatively. "Useless? Then what are you going to do?" My glasses were knocked off, and everything before my eyes blurred. Jake's fists were fast and strong, but I wasn't someone to be easily bullied either. When I was young and weak, my mother always made me learn taekwondo. Jake had no fighting technique at all. Completely relying on strength, we traded blows, neither gaining an advantage until Luna screamed and rushed over, slapping me. My cheeks stung. This was the first time in my life I had been slapped. Luna used all her strength for this slap. The palm of her hand was red, and even her arm was trembling. She angrily asked me, "David, are you crazy? Why are you bullying Jake?" Her eyes, full of resentment, seemed to want to cut me into pieces. But Jake received completely different treatment. Luna carefully helped him up, her face full of worry. She tiptoed gently, blowing on his face. I had to admit they were really a perfect match. A talented man and a beautiful woman. Anyone who saw them would exclaim that they were a match made in heaven. Luna worriedly asked, "Does it hurt, Jake?" Jake indifferently replied, "I'm used to it." With that, Luna felt even more sorry for him. To vent her anger for Jake right in front of me, she stomped on the glasses that had fallen on the ground. These glasses were a gift from Luna when she was 16 years old. When she won a prize in a violin competition, she specially used the prize money to buy them for me. Luna's mother said that she had chosen for a long time, guessing which style I would like and which one would suit me. This girl, when choosing gifts for you, is even more meticulous than choosing gifts for her own father. Luna's mother laughed, scolding, "This kid is too worried." In the past, I always cherished everything she gave me. In the previous life, I even kept these glasses, wanting to wait until May and Luna's child was born to tell him our love story. Thinking about it now, it was truly ridiculous. Luna pointed at my nose and scolded, "David, you are truly a complete jerk. A monster without any sympathy. Let me tell you, we're over. From now on, we are no longer friends." Strangely, hearing these words, I didn't feel heartache. I only felt that they were really annoying. I stood up, neatly dusting myself off. "These glasses were a gift from you. It's good that you stomped them. This slap I'll take. I don't want to hit girls, but if there's a next time, I won't be so generous. Tell your Jake to stay away from me. I'm very busy. I don't have time to play in your melodramatic youth dramas." Jake was just an incorrigible scoundrel. Only Luna was naive enough to still dream of saving him. In busy 12th grade, she wanted to be his savior. Anyway, it was none of my business anymore. Luna unilaterally started a cold war with me. Every time she saw me, she would turn her face away, treating me as if I didn't exist. It had been like this since we were young. Whenever I made her unhappy, she wouldn't say a word to me, making me admit my mistake. Instead, I felt relaxed and became even more enthusiastic about doing my homework. The mock exam approached, and I seriously studied, feeling myself making obvious progress. After the exam, classmates gathered to discuss the answers. Someone said, "Did you guys know Luna skipped the afternoon exam? No one has seen her anywhere. Her homeroom teacher. The teacher is looking for her everywhere." Luna had always been a famous figure in school. Even though we weren't in the same class, I still often heard news about her from friends. Someone started the topic, and everyone enthusiastically discussed her. I didn't find it interesting, so I packed up my things to go home. Eating dinner halfway there, Jake and Luna, arm in arm, appeared in front of me. She had changed a lot. Her waist-length long hair had been cut short. Her makeup was heavy, and she even had black lipstick on her lips. But undeniably, she was still very beautiful. Jake proudly bragged, "She's willing to skip the exam for me. What about you, David? You're just a loser." "Loser? Not louder." Jake was slightly flustered. "What I want to say is my business. What does it have to do with you? You just obediently be a bookworm anyway. No girl will like you." Did he think that all girls were as shallow as she was? Luna leaned on him, confessing her feelings. "Jake, now do you believe I love you the most? For you, I can give up everything. Don't use breakup to threaten me anymore in the future. I can't live without you." Jake seemed very moved, holding her hand, kneeling on one knee, saying, "Luna, you are the light that heaven bestowed upon me. Thank you for agreeing to illuminate me." I felt bored and turned around to leave. Behind me, they hugged tightly, kissing unreservedly in front of others, acting out a scene from an idol drama. Afterwards, to cover up the truth, Luna even deliberately broke her right arm, saying that because her arm was broken, she didn't take the exam. Luna's mother was so worried that she paced back and forth. "What is this? What will you study now? The university entrance exam is coming soon." Luna's face was indifferent. At most, I'll repeat a grade. It's no big deal. With parents as smart as mine, studying for another year will get me into a better university. Luna's mother could only sigh repeatedly, begging, David, your grades are good. When you have time, help Luna, okay? The results of the first mock exam came out. I was in the top 10 of the grade. My best result before had only been hovering outside the top 20. The homeroom teacher looked at me with eyes full of expectation, saying that I could be the dark horse of this year. Before I could even speak, Luna yelled, No need. I don't want him to tutor me. Luna's mother was a little embarrassed, explaining, It's already 12th grade. David should spend more time on himself. My mother was heartbroken, her eyes turning red, asking Luna, Does it hurt, dear? My mother had watched her grow up, long considering her as her own daughter. But Luna laughed very happily. Auntie, I don't hurt at all. Wait until the adults leave. She sneered at me. Don't think I'm pitiful. Love can soothe pain. This little injury is nothing. You're just a bookworm. Don't think that just because my mom praised you, you're getting cocky. From now on, don't look for me anymore. I'm afraid Jake will misunderstand. Saying that, she picked up the orange that my mother had peeled for her and threw it. It's straight into the trash. Can I? I won't eat anything of yours. They are as disgusting as you. I didn't pay attention to her words, still immersed in the joy of being in the top 10 of the grade. If my mother hadn't dragged me away, I wouldn't have visited her after her right arm was broken. Luna became even more carefree, playing with Jake every day. That Sunday, my mother was busy in the kitchen, suddenly saying to me, David, go call Luna over here for dinner. I didn't want to go. My mother immediately complained. Are you two arguing again? Luna's arm is still broken, and her parents are both away on business. She's home alone, so pitiful. Listen to your mother, son. Men should be generous, just give in to her. Go call Luna over here. In my mother's eyes, Luna was still the well-behaved, lovely girl who liked to act spoiled in her arms. I thought for a while, then went outside, intending to take a walk and then come back, saying that Luna wasn't home. Luna's house was right next to mine. Faint laughter and talking came from her house. I, as an adult, understood what was happening. I was about to turn around and go home, but the door suddenly opened. Jake stood there bare-chested, half-naked, with a cigarette in his mouth, and in the air, a faint, indescribable smell. He stared directly at me. Eavesdropping is fun, huh? Do you know you have to pay? Behind him, Luna hurriedly buttoned her clothes, her hair disheveled, her cheeks flushed, and there were obvious red marks on her neck. It turned out to be a complete pretense. There was no broken arm at all. I just didn't expect them to be so bold, taking advantage of the house being empty to do such things. Jake pushed my shoulder, his eyes fiercely glaring. Look again. I'll gouge your eyes out, you idiot who's never seen a girl before. Luna stepped forward, threatening me. David, you're not allowed to tell my parents. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what Jake will do to you. Her lips were plump and swollen, with obvious bite marks on them. One more thing is worse than one less thing, I said. My mother called you over for dinner. If you're not home, then forget it. Jake laughed triumphantly, kissing her lips, passing the cigarette to her mouth before leaving. I said one last sentence. From now on, don't provoke me, otherwise I might accidentally slip up. No longer being bothered by Luna, I made rapid progress at the university entrance physical exam. Shocking news broke out. Classmates discussed it animatedly. Have you guys heard? In the physical exam, Luna was found to be pregnant. Outwardly, she pretends to be pure and aloof, but in reality, she's already become Jake's plaything. Haha. At this time, the class monitor ran in, panting. David, the homeroom teacher is calling you to the office. I didn't understand what was going on. Someone glanced at me. No way, even this matter involves you? Looking at you, you seem serious, but in the end, you're no different. I frowned, denying it. Don't talk nonsense. That person ignored me. What's the big deal? That's the moonlight goddess in you. Too lazy to argue. With him walking straight to the office just out of the classroom door, I saw Luna's father walking towards me with a grim face. I reflexively greeted him, but he kicked me, causing me to fall. David, you bastard. Luna's father was about to continue hitting me, But Luna's mother stopped him. My mother hurriedly said, "There must be some misunderstanding. Normally, David is very sensible. He couldn't possibly do such a thing." My mother turned to me. "David, say something quickly. Explain to Uncle Luna what happened." What exactly happened? Luna stood behind them, her eyes red, looking like she wanted to die. Seeing me look over, she showed a provocative smile. She was afraid of harming Jake, so she put all the blame on me. I stood up, saying word by word, "I didn't do it." Luna's father became even more angry. The usually stern man was now red-faced and furious. "You're a scoundrel. You did it but don't dare to admit it. Your father must beat you to death. Your father has misjudged you, thinking you were his own son." My mother stopped him. "There must be some misunderstanding, Mr. Luna. David is whom you watched grow up. You understand his personality." Luna's father roared. Could it be that Luna would use her honor to slander him? Luna started acting. She buried her head in her mother's arms, sobbing. "David, how could you treat me like this? Clearly you coaxed me into doing that. This baby is yours." The hallway was crowded with students pointing and whispering to me. "Really, David? They were usually so close. My goddess, why are you so blind? Probably been doing it for a long time. Only now was it discovered. Boys at this age, who doesn't understand? David looks kind on the outside but turns out to be this kind of person behind his back with no sense of responsibility. Terrible character." Public opinion leaned completely to one side. Seeing this, Luna cried even louder. She constantly smeared me. "David, you deceived me. You even said you liked me. Now you don't even dare to admit it. Are you even a man? If I had known you were this kind of person, I wouldn't have been with you no matter what." I wasn't panicked at all, coldly laughing. "How about we check the surveillance camera of the residential area to see who you really brought home? If not, then call the police to have them check the motel behind the school. The person who appeared with you there, was it me or Jake?" In an instant, Luna's face turned pale. She only wanted to protect Jake, so she fabricated such a clumsy lie. It was truly full of loopholes. Sure enough, playing with idiots reduced intelligence. Luna was a prime example. Very quickly, the school called Jake's father over. Different from the previous life, this time Jake's father didn't beat him. Instead of being angry, he showed joy in the office. He spoke boastfully, "Just let my grandson be born in peace." Luna's father slammed the table. "Born? What born? They're both still children." Jake's father scoffed. "Children can still get into bed, huh? Your daughter." Before he could finish speaking, he was punched in the face by Luna's father. Jake's father was naturally hot-tempered, and Luna's father was also angry. The two immediately started fighting with no regard for adult dignity. The office became chaotic. The principal and other leaders had to intervene to separate them. Jake's father cursed vulgar words. Jake definitely won't take responsibility for Luna. As soon as he finished speaking, Luna's father slapped him. No one stopped him because they thought he deserved it. Jake's father didn't care at all. "Let him hit. Wait until he's done hitting. Then we'll discuss the matter of my grandson." Luna's father was about to punch again, but Luna rushed over, blocking in front of Jake. "Dad, if you want to hit, then hit me. It's not his fault. I did it willingly. I wanted to." Jake was so moved that he burst into tears. He knelt down in front of Luna's parents. "Uncle, Auntie, please grant us your blessing. We truly love each other." Luna also knelt down, crying. "Mom, Dad, only when I'm with Jake can I feel true happiness. I truly love him." At this moment, everyone became the villains preventing their love. Only Jake's father was smug. "Wasn't I right? Abortion is very harmful to health. The two children have good feelings. Let them hold a wedding now and get the marriage certificate later. They can become parents early, completing the great events of life sooner, and then they can enjoy blessings. How wonderful! But young parents lack understanding. Children growing up in a broken family. Where does happiness come from? Moreover, the child is not yours. You can control your daughter, but my grandson must be decided by my son." Jake's father, although drunk every day, always had reasoning. Countless people were persuaded by those words, including Luna. "That's right. This is my child. This baby is also alive. Based on what do you deprive it of its right to be born? I am its mother. If I want to give birth to it, then it must be born. Looking at her stubborn face, Luna's father couldn't help but slap her. What will you use to raise it later? What about your future? Luna's cheek immediately swelled up. She almost both cried and shouted, I don't care. I want to give birth. I will give birth. From then on, Luna didn't come to school anymore, but her house was next to mine, and there were always sounds of arguments. You are your dad. You are not like your dad. Later I will live with Jake, not live with your dad. As long as Jake is good to me, that's enough. But even Jake couldn't escape the shadow of his family. Added to that, Luna's naivety couldn't change anything either. Jake started frequently coming to her house, although every time he was chased away. Once, when Jake was chased out by Luna's father, he was even splashed with a bucket of cold water. Luna's mother felt sorry for him, helping him up and using her sleeve to wipe the water off him. Jake, are you okay? It's all because of me. He's too stubborn. You didn't do anything wrong. In my heart, you are the best. I just finished evening class. Luna glared at me angrily. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't be like this. Couldn't you help Jake cover up a little? My dad wouldn't have made things difficult for you either. David, you're really selfish. She even dared to blame me. I looked at her unreasonable face, suddenly remembering a time long ago when I failed an exam. She comforted me for a long time. We lay side by side on the school playground, watching the starry night sky. She asked me, David, what kind of future do you want? I thought for a while and replied, a house to shelter from the wind and rain, a job enough to support me and my family, a person who loves and understands me. That night, her eyes were more beautiful than the starry sky. She said, I want to play the violin for life. Later, if you can't make it, I'll support you. The naive promises she had forgotten, but I still remembered. It's just that those images were as distant as belonging to a previous life. Even if everyone opposes, I will overcome all difficulties to be with Jake. I will prove to everyone that we are right. I closed the door and the world quieted down. After this incident, my parents increasingly disliked their family. They even dared to blame my son. My son is so well behaved and obedient. How could he do such a scandalous thing? If I had a daughter like that, I would immediately cut off relations. Indeed, just like that, Luna's parents took her home. Facing Jake, they directly rushed to the hospital, making a scene, crying and wanting to jump off the building. They threatened that anyone who dared to perform surgery for Luna, they would jump off the building and commit suicide right there in the hospital. The doctor didn't dare to perform surgery, delaying it for many days in a row. Jake's father stayed on duty downstairs. Luna also used all means to force her parents to agree. Her parents fell into a dilemma, having to worry about work and family, unable to take care of both sides. Luna's mother sighed all day, tears falling incessantly. Before long, Luna ran away with Jake. On the night they decided to run away, I was engrossed in doing homework. Hearing movement downstairs, I looked out the window. The moonlight was bright, the sky was clear, and the cicadas were chirping noisily. Two young people with nothing but courage bravely rushed into the future. Sounded so romantic, didn't it? But it's okay. Life will teach them how to be human. Some things are not as beautiful as they imagine. Without an economic foundation, without life skills, and with a child about to be born needing care, I didn't dare to think about how many days of hardship were waiting for them. No matter how sweet love is, it can't escape reality. Later, I learned that to ensure everything went smoothly for their escape, Luna had given her parents sleeping pills. Luna's mother, who already had heart disease, almost didn't wake up. Luna's father was completely disappointed in her. He announced he would cut off relations with her. It was as if I raised an ungrateful child. Luna's father threw all of Luna's belongings outside one day. Passing by the trash heap, I accidentally saw her broken string violin. There was a time when she shone on stage, regarded by everyone as a treasure. Now it lay discarded in a corner of the trash heap, dirty and damaged. I didn't look anymore. I just raised my head to look towards the sunrise, continuing to walk towards school. Their figures gradually disappeared from my youth. This drama finally came to a close. The sunlight outside the window flashed by quickly. This summer, I was admitted to Peking University, becoming the biggest dark horse of the class. My homeroom teacher smiled so much that her face almost cramped, only praising me for knowing how to strive. My parents were overjoyed, tears falling, inviting many friends and relatives. The younger brothers and sisters I hadn't seen in a long time all surrounded me, politely asking for advice from me. Adults told them to learn from me, to absorb some intelligence. That lively scene made Luna's mother's eyes turn red. If it weren't for Luna, today would be a day of joy. Why mention that unlucky thing? She almost killed her mother. Why are you still thinking about her? After Luna falsely accused me, Luna's parents apologized to me many times. The usually stern middle-aged man bowed his head before me, earnestly saying sorry. I saw that he was also quite unfortunate. Not pursuing the matter, I comforted him instead. Luna's father looked at me for a long time. The always strong man seemed to age in an instant, silently tearing up. Several years later, I received a call from afar. That familiar voice was Luna. "It's me." Her voice was choked with sobs. "Can you get in touch with my parents? Why is their number a non-existent number?" I replied, "They don't want you to bother them anymore, so they changed their phone numbers." How could it be impossible? The sound of a child crying came from the other end of the line, then Luna's sobbing. That year's lunar New Year's Eve, Luna knelt in front of her house door. Behind her was a child wailing, "Mom and Dad, please look, this is your grandchild. Please let me in. I know I was wrong. I really know I was wrong." Even though she knocked until she bled, the door in front of her still didn't open. She didn't know that Luna's parents had moved away. Luna's father was a person who valued face very much. Such a thing happened. He couldn't pretend nothing happened and stay there. My mother also told me that Luna's mother was pregnant. Selling this house meant that they had overcome the pain, preparing to raise their second child. While everything had ended, we all continued to move forward. Only Luna was still stuck in the summer of her 18th year. Meeting Luna again was many years later. I was on the phone by the roadside, accidentally seeing two people arguing. "Is that child mine? Why does he look more and more like your old boyfriend?" "I don't have an old boyfriend." "Don't deny it. You definitely had a relationship. On-ship with your childhood sweetheart." "Don't think I don't know." Before the woman could explain, the man smashed the wine bottle in his hand. The loud bang made everyone around look over. The woman stood frozen in fear, starting to tremble. "Why is your reaction so big?" Very quickly, I understood the reason. The man slapped her, then punched and kicked her continuously. "The second one looks even less like me. You really are a terrible wife. I'm drinking and you're nagging. What do you care about? Worry about yourself." The woman hugged her head, silently enduring his rage. Obviously, this situation happened often. I couldn't watch anymore, so I stepped forward to stop him. The man cursed. "What's it to you? Mind your own business. Get lost." He picked up a chair, intending to hit the woman. I also angrily picked up a wine bottle, saying, "If you want to hit someone, go to the gym. She's your wife, not a punching bag. Hit again and I'll call the police. This damn woman, consider yourself lucky." The man, seeing my attitude, uttered a few threats, then slunk away. The woman slumped to the ground, crying non-stop. I sighed, handing her a tissue. Patience only leads to heavier bullying. Leaving this advice, I turned to leave. At this moment, a tentative voice sounded behind me. "David." I turned my head back slightly, suppressing my emotions. She excitedly stepped forward, grabbing my arm. "It's me. It's Luna. It's Luna who grew up with you." Only now did I recognize her. The girl who was once as radiant as light in my memory gradually became blurred, leaving only a vague figure. But that figure was not at all like the person standing in front of me. She had changed too much. Her body was plump, her face had experienced many ups and downs, and her temperament was silent and hesitant, far from the person who was once as peaceful as water. Luna said, "You're still the same as before, haven't changed a bit." She looked at her rough hands, laughing self-deprecatingly. "Unlike me." I asked, "Who was that just now?" "Really can't remember his name." "Jake." When saying this word, Luna's eyes dimmed. From her mouth came a deep sigh. She smiled bitterly. "He and his dad are no different." That sentence was like a key unlocking the memories of youth. I suddenly recalled many years ago, he with a rebellious and confident look, talking about how love can heal pain. Jake is Jake. His dad is his dad. He is not like his dad. What's the difference? Parents are children's first teachers. What parents are like, they will teach their children to be like that. Children who are not properly guided when they grow up always have to spend a lot of time and effort to correct, to change, to return to the right path. But Jake clearly didn't have the ability to self-correct. He eventually became the shadow of the father he hated the most. Luna covered her face, large tears rolling through her fingers. What terrible days have I lived through? How did I choose to go with him? I even almost killed my mother. I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid. Stupid. She suddenly raised her head, looking at me as if clinging to the last ray of hope. David, I regret it. I really regret it. Can you take me away? Her words stopped when she saw my wife behind me. My wife had just finished shopping, one hand carrying shopping bags, the other gently taking my arm, smiling and asking, "Friend of yours?" I replied, "Yeah, old classmate." She extended her hand towards Luna. Luna was a little flustered but still extended her hand to shake. After greeting, my wife adjusted my collar gently, saying, "You two talk, David. I'll wait for you in the car." Luna lowered her head. She clearly heard my wife's words. I asked her, "Back between lovers, shouldn't there be trust?" I also once thought this was a match made in heaven between Luna and me. She choked, saying, "I had a very long dream. I didn't follow Jake. I got into a pretty good university, smoothly graduated, smoothly got a job. Some people came into my life and some people left. But even after going around for a long time, you and I still met." She didn't continue speaking. By the roadside, a small shop was playing Dewey 97's Blooming Flowers Under Dry Trees. I loved someone who made me reckless. I thought this was the world I was looking for, but then after stumbles, misunderstandings, and deceptions, could it be that the adult world always has flaws behind the lyrics? Unexpectedly fitting, the scene flowers will bloom again one day, but people can't always be teenagers. Her youthful years actually had many opportunities to revise her choices, but she didn't. Time passed until today. The things that parents and books didn't teach her before, life has taught her. Luna, the path is chosen by yourself. You can't blame anyone else. I can't help you, but the law can. I didn't want to say much more to her, just like many years ago, sending her sincere blessings. Good luck. I have to go, my wife is still waiting for me. Luna was silent for a long time. A moment later she chased after me, her voice carrying sobs. "David, standing beside you should have been me, right? If life could be done over, how great would that be?" I interrupted her. "Perhaps it really could be, but not with these wishful thoughts. You can't continue living like this. You have to look forward. Live the life you want, try hard, transform yourself. Be reborn to welcome the future that belongs to you. Compared to other things, studying is a more stable path with less risk." But at the time when she should have been working hardest, she chose to let go. The road ahead will definitely be harder than her peers, but it's okay. As long as you decide to change, it's never too late.